Welcome to Reds Access, your weekly Cincinnati Reds podcast throughout the entire 2025 season, covering Reds news, games, and more. As always, subscribe to us to follow along here on YouTube if you're a Reds fan. Feel free to follow us across most platforms at Reds Access, Instagram at Reds_Access, and TikTok at Reds Access Official. We're your hosts, Collin and Kyler Osterberger, two lifelong Red fans who love to talk ball. I want to remind you guys first and foremost before we start today, I want to remind our nice viewing audience that listens to us every week. I'm going to one-up what we went over last week in our podcast, and we'll say if the Reds make the playoffs, we'll be giving away in a sweepstakes the ability to win an authentic MLB Shop Reds hat and a $20 Skyline gift card. All you have to do if you're watching this is subscribe to the profile, subscribe to Reds Access with a public profile, and when the Reds clinch, we'll hold a drawing. Winner will receive a Reds official hat and a $20 Skyline gift card. Kyler, how was your week?
It's good, man. Can't complain. How you doing over there?
I'm doing okay. I'm one-upping your your sweepstake last week. I figured that was a little tough to say. If Ellie De La Cruz steals 75 bases, I figured we just step it up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I like it. Postseason or make the postseason solid.
Which means somebody should be winning a Reds hat because we should be making the postseason. If you listen to us or if you're a Reds fan in general, I think you kind of feel that way. But what's not going to help with that is that some injuries have been starting out here to start to end the spring, rather. As we close in on today, we're just 16 days away from opening day, so closing in on 2 weeks from opening day. A couple injuries to touch on, some that affect the Major League roster, some that don't. But one that does not affect the Major League roster, Kyler, that I was really upset about was Cam Collier.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so it looks like he tore his UCL in his hand. Expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks, I think is what they were saying. I know that he was a non-roster invite for spring camp, but I think he's fun to watch. Just bombing them. But yeah, I saw that news. I think it was, a couple days ago that broke?
Yeah, and I felt kind of bad because, I guess you have to hold on to those receipts for me a little longer. Because it looks like he's going to be out a few weeks to prove me wrong. Hopefully, he's in getting the cardio in and not sitting on his butt for that. No, I wish Cam Collier the best, man. He's a big part of the Reds' future. Definitely a slugger more than anything else, and a good hitter. And like you said, scheduled to miss 4 to 6 weeks. I wish him the best. Hope a quick and speedy recovery, and we need him. So
yeah.
There are.
I think he's a big part of the future too. He's fun to watch. I'm excited to see what he develops into.
Yeah, I mean, he put up 20 home runs in A-ball last year, which is awesome. You look, short season, guys don't have the bat skills usually developed yet. He put up 20 home runs in A-ball though, so it's gonna be really interesting to see him once he comes back if he can put it together. My worry is from a guy that broke his pinky playing kickball. My worry is that Cam Collier is not going to be able to have the same bat grip coming back from that injury. That's how I feel in softball, at least. I can't whip it the same way I used to. I'm not hitting 50 home runs in the softball field anymore.
Yeah, he's going to be a little uncomfortable coming back and going to have to kind of adjust, and we'll have to see if that adjustment to his stance and his swing and everything like that, what it changes. Is it good? Is it bad? Can he get back into the swing of things?
Another guy that's going to feel uncomfortable, Kyler, is Spencer Steer. News this week broke. Spencer Steer is supposed to start swinging the bat this week, and he had a cortisone shot.
Yeah,
he had a cortisone shot in his shoulder. Said he feels much better and it's showing marked improvement. But per Terry Francona, says he wants to get it fixed once and for all and doesn't want it to be a nagging issue throughout the season. And if you remember back, Kyler, it seems like in the David Bell era, which I would like to quickly forget about with Terry Francona, a lot of times guys were coming back before they were ready. And you would see that injury continue. You would see, he was never really healthy.
They would drag out. Yeah.
Christian Encarnacion Stan, Joey Votto. Guys were coming back and they were in Jonathan India with the plantar fasciitis or whatever. The guys were never fully healthy. And I'm excited. It stinks to think I might not see Spencer Steer there on the 27th, but I hope he's ready. But even if I don't, I like that they're actually trying to get it fixed.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Yeah, the take on Bell is for sure true. Players coming back too early, and they're just extending that injury. which I'd rather have you back at 100% than back at 70% for 2 weeks and 50% a week and just kind of battling back and forth. But I know that we were excited to have the return of CES and McLean, who were both missing last season. And I think the Reds are looking pretty good right now in spring training. So for Steer to just kind of still be battling that injury, it just kind of sucks to not get to see him out there kind of showing what he can do. I was really excited for him. So I hope he can get healthy. I hope that Terry's approach with kind of waiting it out, getting back to 100% is going to pay off in the long run.
No, I hope so too. And Spencer Steer is definitely my outfielder one. And obviously today, guys, is the last episode we're covering for predicting the Reds team and going over predictions for guys we assume are going to make the 25-man roster. So today's the outfield episode. We'll jump into it more later. But if Steer's not ready to go, I think those depth issues start to show up. And I consider our team pretty deep. But when you lose a guy like Steer, they start to show up a little bit. And I think Kyler and I had a tough time trying to figure out who was going to take that last spot. It's difficult. You need a guy like Steer to be ready to go. You need him to be ready to go. And I hope for the Reds' sake he is, because you mentioned really excited to hear CES and McLean play again this season or see him play. I am too, but I think back to how much it hurt not having them last year. And Steer's a similarly important guy on the team, so I hope he's ready to go.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's adds a little bit more to his importance, because I think we kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago, but in my opinion, the Reds outfield is probably our weakest point. So losing a guy like Steer in the outfield definitely doesn't help, especially when we're kind of grabbing at straws on who we think is going to start where in the outfield, using a lot of utility players. We talked about Gavin Lux maybe even playing out there, kind of filling holes. So yeah, that Spencer Steer is a pivotal player out there, and I'm really hoping that he can get back before opening day. But we'll kind of just have to see how he's feeling and how the next 2 weeks go.
He's a run producer too. I think he had like 94. He led the team, I think 94 RBIs last year or something similar to that stat. He's a run producer, man. He only hit 227 maybe last year. He hit in the 220s. I know that.
Runs are the most important part, though.
Right. That's what I'm saying. When he needed to score, when we need him to score runs, he was there. So I don't want to miss out on a guy like that. I mean, he needs to be in the lineup come opening day. Speaking of being in the lineup come opening day, Terry Francona announced that Hunter Green would be the opening day starter. It's his second opening day nod for the city of Cincinnati. He is now also the second Cincinnati Reds starter of all time to get his second opening day start by his 26th birthday. Francona also announced the pitchers for the opening series, which would see Lodolo on day 2. So I was right on that one. I was wrong on this next one. Martinez on day 3. I thought that'd be Singer. I think you might have had Martinez in your 3 slot.
I had Martinez 3, Singer 2, and Lodolo 4.
And then Brady Singer 4, bringing back the door. But you'll notice there are only 4 guys in that conversation. And I would think that would mean they are anticipating that Rhett Lauder is not ready and that Andrew Abbott is not ready. From my understanding, Lauder has yet to throw, Lauder has yet to throw this spring. And Abbott is just now starting to throw live BP. Might miss a start. I don't think he's going to miss anything crazy. But the question is, with 2 weeks until the Reds return home, who's going to take their place? But we've got a couple options here, Kyler. If you want to kind of run through what we got, there really are, I think, 2 main guys from my point of view who have the opportunity here to take this last start.
Yeah, so I also want to throw it out there that with opening day, there is some days off going into the next game. So in my opinion, it's not dire need to have that 5th starter ready by opening day. I think even Hunter Green might go again before they even hit the 5th starter in the rotation. But yeah, I know Abbott's starting to throw some BP. Getting back in there. I do think that Abbott will probably be that 5th starter going into the season. I think if he can get healthy and can perform well, I think he's going to be that 5th role starter, in my opinion. I'm not sure what you're thinking over there.
No, I see Abbott as my 5 guy, which I've invested in an Andrew Abbott autograph card, so I hope he does well. But I hate seeing that Lauder not get opportunities. And my question goes to the Reds try to trade somebody if Lauder's producing at AAA, come the trade deadline. We have a deep rotation.
Yeah, we do.
So assuming everybody's healthy, it should be Abbott, but I think it's a shame to see Louder go down. But I would say Abbott. If we're healthy, it's Abbott, right? But let's say, and it's a probably realistic scenario, that we're not healthy come the start of the season because Abbott's just starting. He's quite literally 3 weeks behind the entire rest of the pitching staff, almost a month. So if Abbott's not ready to go, we have two options, right? We got, at least I had two options here. So it was Carson Spires. I just got his autograph in the mail today. And Graham Ashcraft. Both are similar in age. It feels like Graham Ashcraft's been around forever, but he's only 27. Carson Spires is 26. Dougie, Graham Ashcraft, has definitely struggled in the spring, Kyler. I believe 10 2/3 innings, 7 runs. I'm not sure who you're thinking here. What are your thoughts between these two guys?
Yeah, so it's tough. Obviously, in a theoretical world, that Abbott won't be ready to go. That's kind of our two choices that we think are most likely. It's hard because you have someone that's got a resume like Ashcraft, been around for a couple of years, has some of that experience under his belt, and then you have someone like Carson that's having a really good spring training, in my opinion. And just you're kind of having to like, do you go with that guy that's been a starter the last couple years and has that experience, or do you go with someone younger, is having a prosperous spring? In my opinion, I know that Ashcraft had a really tough, I think it was 2 innings last week against the Rockies.
Yeah.
Looked good the first inning. Second inning, he got rocked. I think I saw a news article that said he got lit up like a Christmas tree. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think Carson is looking better in spring, but I think Ashcraft just has that extra pushing behind him just with the experience. He's already been a starter with us. I know he's not putting up the best spring training, but I just don't know. I think I keep coming back on Ashcraft's already been a starter for us. I think it's like kind of the safe move until either Louder or Abbott's healthy, or if they think Louder's ready, kind of thing.
I guess my issue, man, is I've seen the Dougie train before. I've seen the Ashcraft Express before, and it's not good the third time through the lineup. That's pretty well documented. But Carson Spires' career stats in the majors, really not any better. Carson Spires, however, last year in the minor leagues put up a 2.5 ERA and struck out almost 9.5 per 9. Graham Ashcraft, not a big strikeout guy. I think it's like 6 K per 9. Almost a 5 ERA for his career, and he's got the innings to back it up compared to Spires that really hasn't had a great opportunity to show his stuff in the major leagues. I'm going to say Spires, Kyler, just because I want to see him, one, and two, Ashcraft's already solidified in our bullpen. If Ashcraft's not ready to go in the bullpen, who takes his spot?
Right.
It's right. And you got to think about options. You got to think about spots on the roster. Who do you option to bring up a pitcher that you don't feel? I mean, because who do they have in the minors that they're going to – I guess they sent Stallmont to AAA, I think. So maybe they pull him up if he's on their 40, which I don't know if he is. So what do you do? I mean, and if it's just for a game, okay, but you still need to do it. So And the only guy that I would feel comfortable putting there, Luis May, who's throwing 103, I think it was, in one of the games, looks great in spring training, Sam in AAA. So who do you, if you take Ashcraft out of the rotation, I guess my thing is who do you put in place?
Yeah, I mean, you could do a 1-for-1, put Spires in the pen, put Ashcraft as a starter, and just kind of pray and hope that either Abbott or Louder will be ready as soon as possible to kind of get Ashcraft back in the bullpen. You're kind of playing chess here. You're just moving people around, just trying to get through that couple rough weeks till you can get your solidified starting rotation going.
I think you bring up a really interesting point, though. And I think they don't have to go to a fifth starter right now. And I would imagine if they don't have to, they won't.
Yeah, I think Hunter Green will go through a second time before they even worry. So I think they'll be about 2 weeks into the season before they actually have to have that fifth starter ready to go.
And hopefully by that point, it's Abbott. So I think, hopefully this doesn't come about. But the main thing we're talking about today is the Reds outfield. So we kind of transition to the main segment today. You mentioned it earlier, Kyler, top-down view, top level, real kind of 1,000-foot view. Reds outfield's the worst part of their team. And I say that with it being a better outfield they've had in the last few years. So our team's good. Our team's a lot better this year, but the Reds outfield is the weakest part of the team, like you said. Steer's likely not going to be 100% to start the year. There's 4 outfield spots guaranteed. The Reds usually like to take 5 outfielders. They probably will take 5 outfielders. If we include Steer in the outfield, but say he's not ready to start the year, which 2 we've established like 7 guys. So we're going to talk about which 2 we think don't make the cut. And obviously we're talking guys like Jake Fraley, Will Benson, TJ Friedel, Austin Hayes, Stuart Fairchild, and lastly, Reese Hines. We're trying to pick 2 guys here that don't make it, Kyler. And it's a hard thing to do a little bit. But let's talk Jake Fraley first, going into his year 30 season.
Yeah. So I like Jake Fraley. He's got that fire under him sometimes, rocking the American flag bandana. But yeah, I know that there's been some articles about him being sick at the start of the season, having some issues with his power, saying it's been depleted in a sense. I know he struggled with hitting the last couple seasons. So, I mean, I like the guy. He's not starter material in my opinion. Just kind of struggling. He's getting up there a little bit in age. I think he's 30 now. But yeah, cool guy. Awesome guy actually, but I don't know. I think that like there's better options, and I think he's a good rotation guy, maybe utility, but what are your thoughts?
Man, so last year he got really sick. He had an infection and he was out for a while, came back, and he was down to, I think, so like 3% body fat. Like he was like tiny, and he came back, couldn't hit at all. He could make contact, but he was already a guy with a very low exit velo and only made hard contact coming back in 1 out of every 4 plate appearances. His ISO, which is an isolated power rate, went from 208, which is still under league average, to 109 in 2024, which is terrible, and it halved. Not only did that halve, his home run rate dropped, and you'll remember last year, it took forever for him to finally hit that first home run, dropped from 5 to 1.3%. He's a league average fielder. He's going to play because he gets on base. And I think they're not ready to give up on him. But if he
not producing.
Yeah, if he stays not producing, it's hard to look at him as a guy that's going to be in the everyday lineup moving through the whole year.
Yeah, I agree.
Another guy that's really hard to view in the everyday lineup moving through the whole year, and this pains me to say because I'm the biggest Will Benson fan there is, but it's Will Benson. 26 years old, still very young. In 2023, he put up an 860 OPS for the Reds. Whole season long, put up an 860 OPS. That had Joey Votto there. It was very well documented that Joey Votto sat down with him on the bus and asked him if he really wanted it when he got sent back down to AAA. And he said, if you want it, you got to go, you got to work for it. You got to, and Will Benson documented mental health stuff, man. And that's not something to joke about or make fun of. Like I make fun of Cam Collier, but this stuff Will Benson is not something to make fun of. It's serious, and I think it hurts his confidence. And I hope there's somebody in the clubhouse that has a veteran presence. But I wonder if it's enough to get him even back into the major leagues to start the year.
Yeah. So I agree with you. Has struggled a lot, especially last season. I know that we talked in an earlier podcast about Terry's kind of working with him. I know Terry's a great coach with working with players. So hopefully he can help him with that mental barrier, that mental health issue he's battling, maybe build up that confidence. But Will Benson's actually the first one on my cut list that's not going to make it. I just think he's struggling too much. We were kind of a make or break season. He's still struggling in spring training. So he's going to be my first, I'll call it cut. I don't think he's going to be a part of that rotation in the outfield.
It's just a shame, man. His hard hit rate's 40%. His BABIP's under league average. So, a little bit of unluckiness last year, but he struck out almost 45% of the time. He's just not, he needs to get it together, man. And he's got to be my first cut too, because we only have a number of people that can make the team.
He's just got so much power too. It's just crazy. Like he crushed, what was it, 450 feet? Wasn't that the home run or something like that a week ago?
30, and he's just ripped. The guy's ripped. He looks like a point, like a power forward, like a center on a basketball team. He doesn't look like a baseball player.
But like LeBron James out there.
But he can't. It's all in his head, man. I know it's all in his head, And so I don't know, man. The thing is he's got to figure it out, and he's got options. Like he's got minor league options remaining. there's guys lower on this list that do not have options remaining, and that's why they're making the team for me. And they play a better role. They play a more important role in the team, and we'll get to that.
More well-rounded as well.
It's not even like some of these guys. It's not even that to me. It's just they get on like Fairchild. I think Fairchild makes this team. Fairchild is a left-handed, has a 780 OPS against lefties. I don't think Fairchild's. I mean, he's going to play only against lefties, but that complements well to a guy like Austin Hayes or Jake Fraley that can't hit lefties. So he's a team, but Will Benson's left-handed and strikes out against righties. So you can't.
Right.
We're not even talking about what he does against lefties. So it's tough. But another left-handed hitter who does hit lefties very well is TJ Friedl. TJ Friedl had a hurt year, a down year last year. He is going up to his year 30 season. He's 29 now as the Reds outfield gets a little bit older in age. Had a BABIP of only 229, but his exit velo was like 83 and change. Hard hit rate was low. He's a good runner, a good fielder. He had a really strong year in 2023. He was an 819 OPS. BABIP tells you again last year he was a little unlucky, but I wonder if it's not luck, Kyler. I wonder if it's more he doesn't hit the ball hard. He pulls the ball weakly. I wonder if it's just he was a David Bell darling. He was a guy David Bell loved to run out there because he was a hard, gritty player, and I just don't know if we saw the best from him, and if we're not going to get the best now. He's getting up there in age a little bit. The way he plays, he kind of reminds me of a Ryan Friel laying his body out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm also not the biggest fan of his arm out there. I don't think he's got that strong of an arm for outfield. That's kind of nitpicking. I like Friedl. It's just kind of going back to playing him at his strengths. Hopefully he can have a better season this year. Hopefully Tito can kind of build him up. Like I said, I'm really banking on what everyone said, that Tito's great with the players. He's really good at building them up and getting every drop out of them. So hopefully Friedl can just be prosperous this year and hopefully look like he did in 23.
I hate to say this, but hopefully we get Luis Robert at the trade deadline and we don't have to be worrying about this. But
yeah, they want a lot for him though. That's the biggest issue.
I hope we can get one of our starting pitchers. That's what I'm saying is,
they want a lot of prospects. I can't remember who they were looking at. I think there was like 2 or 3 of our top prospects they were looking at to even like discuss a trade. And I just don't think it's worth it for him, but that's my opinion.
I'll tell you, this is totally sidetracked to our discussion we're having right now. But I'm tired of we don't want to give up prospects and we don't want to, if we're winning, then whatever. But man, win now. You've got a team that wants to win, whatever,
but we haven't been scared to trade prospects. I don't think he's worth the prospects that they want. Like the White Sox want a lot for him, and that's why a lot of teams have not pursued him. And I just don't think we're that down bad to go after him. But like I said, that's my opinion. Some people feel differently. I know our outfield is our weakness, but I'm just not willing to pay those big bucks or trade those like young stars for someone that I know he's had some issues with injuries and stuff like that. I just don't think it's worth it on my side.
Let me ask you this. If the Angels called you about Mike Trout,
knowing
he's only going to play 70 games a year,
I wouldn't do it.
Really?
You're talking about trading 2 to 3 stars, whoever they could be.
You're trading Nick Lodolo, Edwin Arroyo, another top prospect, and throw somebody in an A-ball for Mike Trout.
I don't know. I'm just not a big look. I'm all about making moves. Trust me, I am. Like even watching the Bengals offseason right now, I'm frustrated. I'm about making moves.
Doing anything, but that's
yeah. We went blind today or something, but I just don't think it's worth giving up all of that capital for what? Well, one, Mike Trout's kind of on the second half of his career, battles a lot of injuries. I think last season, he batted like 220 in the games he did play. Like he's a great player, great face of the MLB at one point. I just don't think it's worth to trade that capital right now for someone like that.
Man, you had that stat on ready on standby. Mike Trout did hit 220.
I pulled it up.
Oh,
I knew it was. I knew it was. I knew it was low. I just wanted to get my confirmed facts before I spit them out here.
You know what's funny? He hit 220, but he's still at 140 OPS. But he is one of the best hitters of our generation, probably the best hitter, and one of the biggest what ifs. Right? I mean,
yeah, can't stay healthy.
No, that's a shame too. But okay, so
whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just a speculative. But I don't know. But if they called up Mike Trout, I think I'd listen. But
I would listen. I just wouldn't give up probably what they want for him. It's like LeBron James. Like,
yeah,
like they would want everything for LeBron James, but he's 40 something. Like, I'm not gonna trade my future for someone to give me a couple few years. I guess what I see what you're saying though. We could be contending, kind of make that last push, but it's kind of a trade-off. Do you want to win one World Series and then suck, or do you want to build and hopefully win a couple World Series with a young roster?
Edwin Arroyo and Christian Encarnacion Strand for Mike Trout.
I'd do it.
All right.
I'd do it.
All right. Speaking of huge superstar outfielders, we have our big superstar off-season outfielder signing next, who is Austin Hayes, who will be 30 by the All-Star break. Well-documented kidney infection in 2024. Definitely a prove-it season. I think they signed him to a year with another year in bonus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
or in right. Option. Above average hitter for his career. Really tough year last year. Last year, his power sapped. His everything sapped. He just wasn't super productive.
He was sick.
Yeah. Former All-Star, though. We paid him, so he's making the team. In my opinion, we paid him, so he's making the team.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to play platoon with my next guy I have making the team. But Hayes is definitely making the team. Is definitely playing against right-handed hitters, I think, every day. Or pitchers every day.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Yeah, we didn't go out there and get him just to not use him. You know what I mean? Especially with how weak our outfield is. So I don't know if he's going to be an everydayer kind of thing, maybe kind of in and out. Kind of have to see what Tito's thinking, but he's definitely going to play. And hopefully a lot.
And we're not even getting into like Gavin Lux playing days in left field. And it's really a versatile team as far as positions they play.
Yeah, and you got to think when Steer comes back. So it's going to be a lot of rotation.
But where you put Strand, where you put Candelario, it's a whole.
Yeah, we got everyone's moving around.
Yeah, we got too many players at too few positions. And that we're trying to. It's like when we remember when we got Suarez. And we brought in Moustakas. Who do we bring in at third base? It wasn't Moustakas because he went to second. Why did Suarez that year go to play shortstop? Who did we have?
I don't remember. I can look it up though.
It's Suarez went to play shortstop, and he's athletic enough.
What year?
It was 21. It might have been Moustakas.
I think it is.
And they moved him to second because I don't know. It doesn't matter. But anyways, they moved Steer. No, they moved Suarez to short, man. He sucked.
Yeah, Suarez and Moustakas were sharing third, and obviously they moved him over to short too.
Yeah, that didn't last long. It reminds me of something similar with a lot of these guys. You know, there's not enough positions for them. But guys that they always say, a hit tool. If you can hit, they'll play you anywhere, right? They'll find a place for you to play if you can hit. The opposite story is a guy like Kevin Kiermaier. And a guy that reminds me a lot of Kevin Kiermaier is Stuart Fairchild, 29 years old, which really surprised me. I mean, really surprised me.
He looks like he's 22. Like
I saw 29. I went, what?
Yeah, that guy looks super young. Baby face, I guess.
Stereotypical platoon player. A real platoon player. 500 OPS against righties, 786 against lefties, slugged .436. Can't hit righties, above average fielder, above average runner. I think he robbed 4 home runs last year. I mean, it was 3 or 4. It was a lot. He led the league, I think, in robbed home runs.
Dude's got hops.
He's going to make the team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he's going to make the team playing every day against left-handed pitching. And I hope he never sees the field against a right-handed pitcher.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. He's good at what he's good at. And I think there's going to be a lot of rotation, like you said. So it was fun watching him last year. I thought definitely like the robbing the home runs. It's always cool to see someone rob a home run. But yeah, I totally agree with you for sure. Platoon player.
a guy like him, your fifth outfielder, has a place on the team in situations. You need that to be a decent player and a guy that plays the field well, and that's what he does.
Yeah.
I have no complaints with Fairshaw's my fifth outfielder. It's a shame we have him because I want Will Benson, but it's just as a left-handed hitter, you've got to be able to hit lefties. Or at least hit righties.
Right.
And like you said, it's a shame because he hit the ball, 116, 113, that home run he hit. It was like the hardest hit ball of his career.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. 465 feet. Another guy that hits the ball really, really hard. In fact, he averaged over 91 miles an hour exit velo last year. Who I had on this list originally because he had not yet been optioned. But as of, I think it was Sunday, the Reds optioned him. Rhys Hines. Rhys Hines, who changed his number to 57, so he's now Hines 57, which is pretty hilarious to me, and probably my mom if she's watching because she works for Hines, which is
shout out to them.
Shout out Kraft hashtag sponsor. Give us a call at Reds Access. Came up, had 5 home runs in 6 games. Hines did, and then couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Big, strong exit velo guy. Not over 91 mile an hour exit velo, like I said. He goes back down to AAA after getting sent back down. He hits 208 in AAA with 160 strikeouts and 380 plate appearances. Where do you go from there? What's the?
Dude, I don't know. I feel like AAA sometimes is where you go to die almost, but if you can't hit in AAA, there's going to be some issues. A lot of guys in AAA are hurt on assignments, older. So if he can't hit in AAA, I don't think he's going to hit in the majors. So something's got to change. He can't just go hit a bunch of bombs and then strike out half the time. It doesn't work that way. But yeah, I don't know. He's my cut. He's already been optioned, but he was my second cut. Easy one, got me out of that one, out of jail card. But he just needs to put it together. If he can put it together, we'll be fine. But until then, he's cut on my list.
I'm not surprised that's an Aquino situation. Before we get out of here, another Aquino, and he's my last cut too. But before we get out of here, another Aquino situation. Nick Senzel made the news today. He's officially out of American baseball at the age of 29. Signs with a Mexican League team. He is playing the Bigs too, apparently. He's making that career comeback in the Mexican League. Hate to hear it, man. Love the guy. I remember I bought tickets to his debut. I may have skipped school that day to go see Nick Senzel at his debut game.
Yeah, it was like our number 2 pick.
Yeah, and I remember I brought friends with me, and I was hyping him up the whole time. I think he struck out 3 times. But I'll tell you what, his rookie year was good. He showed all the feats and the tools, and he just couldn't stay healthy, man. I wish him the best of luck in the Mexican League. Obviously, just unfortunately chalks down to yet another Reds draft pick of the early 2010s that never worked out. Yeah. Sadly enough. But yeah, that's our outfield, guys. So 5 outfielders for us is going to be that is Jake Fraley, TJ Friedel, Austin Hayes, Stuart Fairchild, and Spencer Steer, assuming he's healthy. Now, let me ask you this. Say that he's not healthy. Who do you bring up first, Benson or Hines?
I'd probably give Benson the go. But that would be probably his last chance. I mean, if he blows that too, I just don't think – I think he's out of tries at that point.
You got to trade him at that point. I mean, just try to get something. Because there's teams he'll play on. The Royals. There's really bad teams. The Yankees probably could use Will Benson right now. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton's out for the year. And I saw like 3 other guys now are out. Garrett Cole just had Tommy John.
Yeah, Tommy John. Yep. That was announced yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I mean, somebody could use him, man. But he's not. We're not doing him any favors. He's 26. We're not doing him any favors leaving him AAA either.
Yeah. It sucks, like you said, too. Like our weakness is the outfield, and he's still too weak to be that.
Yeah, unfortunately. But I think we have a good team. We have a deep team.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about 2 AAA guys that have had success in the major league level that are the guys that first call up. And we even mentioned guys like Blake Dunn, who hit the cover off the ball this spring. And he's probably the first guy up. We probably should talk about Blake Dunn. Blake Dunn's probably the first guy off the bench if anybody gets hurt. But we'll leave that for another day. We are diving in the next 2 weeks as we move towards opening day. We're going to have to find some stuff to talk about. We're going to do the opening day special episode, go over the projected lineups and kind of go over that first series of the season. But next week, I guess you're going to have to tune in. We're going to have to do some brainstorming. We're so excited to start this podcast, man. We jumped the gun. And we got
1 week early.
We'll have some
it's
great
for the
stuff
fans.
Week, though. Definitely, stick around. Come on, check it out. But that's going to wrap up this episode, guys, of Reds Access. Of course, big thanks as always for tuning in. Do not forget to subscribe with the public profile to get in for the giveaway for that Reds Authentic hat and $20 Skyline gift card as soon as, and we'll say not when, but as soon as the Reds clinch the playoffs this year. Kyle and I will be back next week and the week after, and the whole week into the playoffs when we make our run for the World Series with more breakdowns, hot takes, and everything you need to know about your Cincinnati Redlegs. Of course, be sure to follow, subscribe, and keep the conversation going on social media with us. And as always, rounding third and headed for home for Kyler Osterberger and myself, go Redlegs.
Go Reds.